If somebody wants to practice Christianity, that is their right. I have no problem against that. But to say that somebody needs to adopt a name which is so-called Christian, when in reality it is a Western name. For example, Roland has nothing to do with Christianity. Felix, it has no this thing origin in the Bible. You know, Kennedy. I had this discussion with a reverend father who refused to baptize a child because the child did not have a so-called Christian name. You know, African parents have been deceived in the past to think that the so-called Christian name, which is essentially Western name, is a name that will take you, you know, to God. If you go and you know, get the dictionary definition of Christian names, it tells you that it is names that are given, that are recognized, you know, by the church, which have a Western origin. Meaning that it is people who have decided that we are using our names as so-called Christian names. China trains 1.5 million engineers per year. Do you know what we train in Africa? The First World War, when I read First World War and Second World War, I discovered that it was a purely European affair. It was something between brothers, you understand? And they call it World War. What was the interest of Africa in the First World War? Nothing. What was the interest of Africa in the Second World War? Nothing. Why would Africa have been fighting the Second World War? For no good reason. If Africa did, right, it is handpicked soldiers that the French, the British, who had colonies in Africa, took to come and fight for them.
For them.
Did Africa have any stake in the First World War? Or so-called First World War and Second World War? We did not have any. So why is it called First World War and Second World War? Because of the arrogance of the West.
Why do Africa textbooks teaches us about who discovered the sea route to India?
Is it not very stupid to go and discover the sea route to India, which is already existing? And there are people, you know, Vasco da Gama discovering the sea route to India has no relevance to the African child. If that kind of education is not scrapped from the educational system, I bet us that Africa will still be last. When you teach people proudly that Britain was our colonial master, Britain was a colonial master, it means that Britain is greater than you. Such education should not be taught. It should be kicked out. People should be taught in school that Britain was a colonial criminal. They came here, they stole.
Sure.
Yes, it is our education. Okay, they came here, they stole our artifacts, they destroyed our culture. Okay, they used our fathers and mothers and they worked for them for free. Which was criminal
slavery.
Please, see, I wish that this thing were even 4 hours so that I explain these things in detail. I hope you invite me.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Uncensored Twins podcast, where truth meets fire. As you all know, anything you see or hear from this place is the truth. Anything you hear from the girl's mouth is what we hear from the girl's mouth. We do not edit videos. As you all know, Uncensored Twin is uncensored. We're not the lie for the place. Anything you see and hear from here is the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest for today is Mr. Abang Walang. Mr. Abang Walang, you're welcome to Uncensored Twin podcast. We're happy to have you here today. Uncensored Twin is happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you to the trio. I've seen you guys in your art, and I really enjoy what you're doing. Jack and Jeff and Favor. It's an honor to be here today to say the truth about Africa the way it is. I hope, as you said, that it's not going to be censored. This truth will go out there the way I'll tell it today. I'm really ready for that.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Walang, please, we would like to know, we would like you to tell us your background, where you come from, where you go, which part of Cameroon, and all the rest.
Okay, my name is Walang Abang. If you think this is important, I was born on the 11th of January 1974, so I'm 51 years old today. Yes, I schooled here in government primary school Moliko Camp, somewhere here in Boya, government primary school Moliko. I attended secondary school in Yaoundé and in Bafoussam, high school in Baptise High School, and the University of Boya, where I studied law and sociology. And I was also a very fervent member of the University of Boya theatre troupe, the drama club.
Wow.
Yes, so that's a little about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Walang. Mr. Walang, please, we'd like to know, what do you have to say about African parents giving their children European names and calling them Christian names?
Yes, that is something. Thank you very much. I'm happy that that has come up. The name is a very important aspect of a culture, a tradition, a people. Now, when you name a person, you have some kind of a superiority. You are placed in a superior position to name a person. For example, you, Favor, you did not name your parents. Your parents named you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because they brought you to this world, because they stand at a superior position to guide you, to give you guidance, to get you to grow up and become a responsible person, they will give you a name that they think is suitable, to your person. A name, which will inspire the way they want you to grow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that, African parents have been deceived in the past to think that the so-called Christian name, which is essentially Western name, is a name that will take you, to God, to God, according to the pre-Christian perspective. So no, every name that is given should be a name that reflects the identity of the people. It should, yes. If somebody wants to practice Christianity, that is their right. I have no problem against that. But to say that somebody needs to adopt a name which is so-called Christian, when in reality it is a Western name. For example, Roland has nothing to do with Christianity. Felix, it has no origin in the Bible. Kennedy. These are essentially Western names. And if you go and get the dictionary definition of Christian names, it tells you that it is names that are given, that are recognized, by the church, which have a Western origin, meaning that it is people who have decided that we are using our names as so-called Christian names. So if they have that power to decide, why did they not include African names? Why did they not include Asian names? So when you get the name, you give those people power over you. Okay, they have power over you whether we like it or not. I'm saying that like a father names a child, okay, the person who names you has authority over you.
Sure.
So I am vehemently against the fact that Africans are still, tying onto this slavery mentality attitude of adopting Western names and calling them Christian names. Yes. If you permit me to go further, I had this discussion with a reverend father who refused to baptize a child because the child did not have a so-called Christian name. A parent came there. So the reverend father refused to baptize the child because the child did not have the so-called Christian name. So I asked the reverend father, why? He said, because the church says that any person who wants to baptize must adopt a Christian name. I said, what is a Christian name? He told me that it's a name that is recognized by the church. I said, so are you telling me that the church doesn't recognize the African name, as an integral part of naming? He said, no, the church recognizes, but to baptize in the church, you have to adopt a Christian. So I told him straight on, I said, Father, do you know that in so doing, you're promoting white supremacy? Because you are telling us that in Africa, where we are Africans with our culture, with our background, with everything, our names are not relevant. It is the white man's name that is relevant. And I challenged him. I said, Father, is Zidane a Christian name? He said, Zidane, the football player, he did not know, the context. I said, Zidane is an Algerian name. You get it. If you want to trace the background, perhaps it's Arabic. But because Zidane is playing in France at that time, Zidane was playing in France, I said, you people baptize Zidane. Okay? You see, this is how backward we can allow ourselves to go without thinking. Africans need to start asking themselves concrete questions, in terms of what we adopt from the other. I'm not saying that what the other has is essentially bad. No, but we should pick what is good for us and what is not good. When somebody names you, it is like they own you.
Wow. Okay, Mr. Walang, thank you very much. So why do you think churches still pressure families to adopt names like Roland, Francis, or Priska? Why they can embrace these traditional names? Like
Manka, like Ekemangwa, yes. Why do they still do that? The answer is simple. Ignorance. We Africans have accepted or have refused to move out of our realm of ignorance. When people like us start asking questions, they feel a little threatened, as if we are threatening the business of the church. Everything is business. Life is business. And to do your business well, you have to convince people. Okay, so when we start bringing such suggestions that Africans have to be authentic, not only in terms of names, but in every ramification. Okay, some people feel threatened, so they prefer to stay in that ignorance. Because if anybody, whether it's a reverend father, whether it's a pastor, if they research very well and read into the cultural anthropology of Africa and understand the meaning, the significance of African names, they wouldn't give any child a Western name. Okay, they will adopt our name, but they will rather stay in, or we, because I'm still there, it's a fight. We would rather stay in that realm of ignorance than move a step out of that and try to look at look at it from an outsider's perspective, whether to ascertain whether what we are doing is truly right or it is wrong. So yes.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So I have this question. What is the spiritual or cultural impact of denying a child their native name?
Very good. Now, that brings us to the meaning of names in Africa. Now, do we know that names are rich in symbolic meanings in Africa? Okay. Some denote periods of events that have occurred in Africa. Some are given, related to some powerful people in the society, in the family. Now, do you know that in Africa, we don't inherit names? For example, I told you that my name is Walang. My father's name is Abang. Okay. But in Africa, my name Walang reigns supreme as far as I am concerned. I named my son Abang. His name reigns supreme as he's concerned, as far as he's concerned. He doesn't need to, if he has his children, he mustn't name them Walang Abang, something like Walang Abang Wano. It should be Abang something. If he chooses to give my child, his child, my name, because he values me in his life as his father, fine, okay. But now, at the time I become an ancestor and his child bears my name, right? Because we are future ancestors, all of us sitting here as Africans, we are future ancestors, okay. By the time I become an ancestor and his child bears my name, I will be resting peacefully where I am, to say that my children value their father and they have given the name of their father after their children in much the same manner as I gave the name of my father to my first son. Okay. So names have spiritual and folkloric symbols as far as the African culture is concerned. Okay. We can never underplay these symbols as far as our names are concerned, because saying that the Christian name stands supreme or reigns, okay, is denying this symbolic value that our own names have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Walang. Thank you so much. I have this question.
Yes.
Will you advise an African to give their child a purely African name, and why?
Absolutely. I would advise the African to give our children, or I'll advise us Africans to give our children purely African names, because we don't need some other person's name in order to be relevant. In fact, our relevance will only be determined if we are assertive. Assertive means that we take our own things and showcase them. Only our own things. I used to give an example of Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is such a brilliant dancer. Okay, he sings very well. There are many people imitating Michael Jackson. If you go to YouTube, just key in Michael Jackson imitators, you will see about thousands of people imitating Michael Jackson. Go and read those comments, the comments under those performances. Those people are brilliant. Some of them, I can dare to say that they challenge on a stage, they will challenge Michael Jackson with his own dance. But read the comments. You dance beautifully like Michael Jackson. I think about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was a legend. 98% of those comments are giving the glory to Michael Jackson. They don't give the person. About of those 1,000 people and plus who are dancing, okay, we don't know the name of one of them. Do you know one person who is dancing like Michael Jackson, bro?
No.
Do you know anybody who's dancing like? But they are there many. You understand? But you know Michael Jackson. So we are giving all the energy to Michael Jackson by imitating Michael Jackson. By taking the names of others, we are giving all our energies to the other. Why should we do that? Okay. So we should give the energy to ourselves.
Can you give an example of an African name you would give to a child?
Let me kick my own name, aside, right? There is Ibro, there is Tim, there is Atro, there is Mvu, there is Anang. Okay, I can name about 1,000, you know, from my place. Now, if you go to the Manu people in Manfe, Besem, Bisong, Ayuk, Eta, okay, so many of these names, which are beautiful names, rich in meanings and symbols. You understand? That are ours. Let me see. The father asked me at one time. He said those names that, you know, some dioceses are adopting African names. You understand? But they need to get into the meaning of those names before they determine whether they want to take those names. You understand? And I asked him, Father, do you get into the meaning of Western names before adopting them? I said, do you know the meaning of Cecilia? Does anybody here know the meaning of Cecilia?
Not really. No.
Cecilia derives from the word blindness. Okay? you understand?
Yeah.
But nobody wants that. Nobody wants to find out. Do you know the meaning of Mary? Mary means bitterness. Yes.
We just know Mary is the mother of Jesus.
See, there are even Edward. It's not a biblical name, you understand? But it has a negative connotation. Kennedy. Okay? These are names that do not have very positive connotations. But we adopt them. And when it comes to African names, you start asking what's the meaning, so that they should say God's gift. Why? Okay, the people who brought those names forth, they had the reasons why they brought those names forth. Okay, so why should the church? I don't give the church authority to question the meaning of an African name. Okay, the church is a body foreign to Africa, isn't it?
It is.
Yes. So why should it question the meaning of the African name?
Oh.
Okay, sir, thank you. So you've spoken a lot about how our education is still colonial. Can you give us a few examples on some examples that we ignore every day?
About the colonial, the nature of our education?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'll take an example of China. China trains 1.5 million engineers per year because they need to build the Chinese society. They are still building. Okay, building a society is a continuous project, right?
Yeah.
Africa doesn't train up to 100,000 engineers per year. Do you know what we train? Do you know what we train in Africa? In countries where English is spoken, the coefficient. What's the coefficient of English language? Coefficient of English language now is 8. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the coefficient of physics?
I don't know.
Coefficient of physics is 5 right now. When I was in school, English language was 5, physics was 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has not changed much. Okay, now what do we need more? Do we need people who speak good English, or we need people, engineers, who can build and transform the society? It's a very simple question to answer. Okay, so but because the colonial educational system that was bequeathed to us, right, is easy to manage, we have still maintained it. What's the colonial education system? A system that taught us not to think critically, you know, to value consumption over production. Okay, yes, it teaches us to learn how to become good employees instead of job creators, entrepreneurs. You understand?
Yeah.
That is what the colonialists. Please, I would use some terms that are not very. Yes. I don't call them colonial masters because if I call colonial master, it puts us in an inferior position. When you call a master, you're looking at him up there.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you go into the history of colonialism, lots of crimes were perpetrated in Africa. So it is only very right to call them colonial criminals. Okay? Yes. Whatever colonialism did was criminal in Africa. So, but they gave us a system of education where they wanted people who could read and to write, to fill in the spaces of clerks in their administration. Teachers, you know, to continue to teach people to read and to write. And then when they were leaving, they picked some of these people. The real people wanted independence, were not given independence in their hands. They picked some people who were not ready for independence and gave them the independence and say, you will be leaders, you understand, from amongst these clerks. And they sponsored the education in those countries. You'll be surprised to hear that some African countries still have their educational systems sponsored by the colonial countries, the countries that were so-called colonialist. Okay, so why do they sponsor it? They sponsor it so that we remain subservient. Okay, in history, let me give you an example. In history, we started studying European history. How relevant was European history to the African? Nothing. Okay, we went from there to world affairs, and we studied First World War, Second World War. You understand? Now, let me surprise us. The First World War, when I read First World War and Second World War, I discovered that it was a purely European affair. It was something between brothers, you understand? And they call it World War. What was the interest of Africa in the First World War? Nothing. What was the interest of Africa in the Second World War? Nothing. Why would Africa have been fighting the Second World War? For no good reason. If Africa did, right, it is hand-picked soldiers that the French, the British, who had colonies in Africa, took to come and fight for them.
For them.
Did Africa have any stake in the First World War? Or so-called First World War and Second World War?
No.
We did not have any. So why is it called First World War and Second World War? Because of the arrogance of the West. I have no problem with them. Okay, that's how they are. We'll manage them the way they are. But Africans should start waking up.
They should learn.
Am I asking too much?
No.
We should start waking up, you understand?
Yeah.
If they call the First World War, Second World War, we should ask, was it really a world war? Was it truly a world war? A war without African should, in fact, it is bizarre to call a war without Africa or Africa's interest a world war. Okay? You are saying that Africa doesn't exist. And today, you know that the narrative still comes into this modern day. When you talk of the international community, which countries are you talking about? America, France, Germany, Britain, Italy, Holland, you know, Australia. Okay. If they say the international community doesn't recognize this country, it is America, France, Britain, Portugal, you know, you get it. Just them there. They call themselves the international community. Meaning that if an African country recognizes that country and they don't recognize or say the international community, you get it.
Yeah.
It's very serious. But that is the way they are. Africans should wake up.
Wake up, yeah.
Simplicity. As simple as that.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Again, I have this question: why do Africa textbooks teaches us about who discovered the sea route to India?
That's a very beautiful question. What that we have to ask. You know, it is this unwillingness for us to be creative. I say, you know, it has to do with some kind of laziness, because somebody discovering Vasco da Gama discovering the sea route to India has no relevance to the African child.
Sure.
In reality, what is it not very stupid to go and discover the sea route to India, which is already existing, and there are people, you know, you get it, and there are people plying that route. Do you know that it's very condescending? You get it, for us to be learning such nonsense. Again, the reason is that the Westerner thinks that he is the world, that he is the center of the world. Before Vasco da Gama, there were people who have explored the world. You get it?
Yeah.
But because those people were modest people, they did not come and write and say, we discovered this part of the world. You get it? Yes. So the Westerner, and we are feeding that arrogance of the West by teaching that education. Okay? By teaching that education to our children, we are feeding that arrogance of the West. So why are we doing that? We are doing that because we are lazy, because we don't want to wake up from slumber and say all of this will not take us anywhere. And that is where people like Walang Abang come in to say that let's open our eyes. Okay, we have been deceived in the past. Our educational system, our spirituality, our medicine, even medicine. Africa had some of the best medicines, which are natural medicines. Now, because of business interest, we are going pharmaceutical. I'm not saying that their medicines don't work, but I'm saying that, what about alternative medicine? Okay, so I'm saying, let me bring us back to this, the man discovering the sea route to India, Vasco da Gama, which they taught us in primary school, which they are still teaching our children. If that kind of education is not scrapped, I bet us that if it's not scrapped from the educational system, I bet us that Africa will still be last. You understand? Why? Because you are the sum total of your thought processes and everything. You understand? If Africa is still last till today, it's because our way of thinking has a problem, and we have to decipher, you know, and get these problems in our way of thinking. And part of that is our educational system. Part is spirituality. You understand? I say it without fear of controversy, that Africa will continue to be enslaved because there's this, slavery now is not physical. It's not coming to bundle somebody or many people and putting them in a ship to carry to Europe or to the West Indies. Slavery now is mental. Yeah. Africa will continue to be enslaved when we are worshipping the gods of other people. When some people, they harness their God, put it down in writing and call it, in a condescending manner, the God of the universe. And Africans are the ones following it. I'll give you an example. In India, what's the religion there? In India, it is Hinduism. Okay, China and part of Southeast Asia, Buddhism. Japan, Shintoism. You get it. The Arab world, they have Islam. Okay, these are their how do I call it? These are their spiritual practices that they have harnessed from themselves, which emanate from their culture, their practices, traditions. You understand? That is why everything used there, every example used there emanates from their culture. So too do, the Jewish with their Abrahamic religion. Okay, it is their spiritual practices. But because the Westerner thinks that he is the center of the world, okay, he says, this my practice should be taken to other people. Let me ask people something. If you go to a church, if a pastor succeeds to bring you into his church, just in Cameroon here, okay, what do you start calling that pastor?
Daddy.
Daddy. You get it?
Yeah.
So when somebody succeeds to bring you, to remove you from your own spirituality and bring you to theirs, what position do you occupy? That of a master or a servant?
Servant.
So you understand why Africa is in a servant position for always, because spiritually we are practicing and serving, something that the master has given us. Okay, and I used to joke about it. That if you do this, okay, if you do this, you will end up putting all your energy to make that deity to grow. And who will that deity reward? The deity will reward his own children that he recognizes. That deity doesn't recognize you and I sitting here. You understand? That is the fundamental problem of the African. The African is doing everything for the other and nothing for himself. Or everything that comes from the other and nothing that comes from himself.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Walang. Thank you. I have this question. Do you think are we still spiritually colonized, both religion and education?
150% we are. Yes, 150% we are colonized, both in terms of religion and in terms of education. Do you know that the Arabic religion called Islam is a foreign religion too, which is thriving in Africa? Okay, now Africans do not know how those religions found themselves here. I tell you, if you read your history, if you do research, you will discover that massacres were done in order for those religions to be implanted. In many countries of Africa, the churches were accomplices to genocides. In the Congo, people were, how do they call this in English? The hands of people were chopped off with the complicity of the church. Do you know that when the arts, Africa had a lot of aesthetic, beauty arts, you understand? Artistic work, which are in the museums in the West today. Do you know that it is the church, the fathers, that first of all came and saw these Africans and said, the king needs this art. And when you refuse, then the soldiers came after. So they have been working in complicity. So the answer to your question is, we are still 100% colonized in terms of religion and in terms of education. We need to, seriously review our education and our spirituality. I know that when I say this, people out there will fume, but this is just the truth, the way it is. And, people, sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's difficult to say the truth the way it is, because you feel like people are going to be offended. But offense or being offended by the truth will not change the truth. That is the sad reality. Being offended by the truth will never change the truth. That is the reality of Africa. Africa is living in the reality of another person. And if we don't come back to our own reality, Because when you're Michael Jackson's story now, my dear brothers and sisters, you understand? If you are dancing Michael Jackson, all the energy goes to Michael Jackson. Nobody knows your name. Nobody knows Africa today because we are dancing the realities of some other person, not our reality. The moment we come back to our reality, somebody will start knowing our name. Okay? That is why Africa is backward today. There are no two reasons. That's the only reason, because we are living some other person's reality. But some other person has told us that our reality doesn't count. And foolishly, we believe that person. No, I'm here to say that that person is a fat liar. Okay? Our reality counts. Every people in the world are unique. You get it? Yes. The Chinese did a cultural revolution where they kicked out capitalism and all its vestiges. Even Coca-Cola was banned in China during the Cultural Revolution. Okay? Yeah. Yes. So, to kick out that spirit of colonialism, we need some kind of a cultural revolution too, not in the same level as the Chinese, but we need to do something in terms of, re-educating the Africans to go back to our source. In terms of medicine, in terms of spirituality, in terms of education, in terms of naming, in just everything, dressing even.
Thank you very much, sir. So I want to ask this. What subject or theme would you introduce if given the power to reform or the curriculum?
Right. Yes. I think that can I answer?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that if we are to reform the curriculum, English language is important. Please, I don't want to undermine the importance of English language. Okay, we should learn how to speak English language because it's very important. I mean, it's used all over the world. So if you want to get into the world of business, you have to teach your children English language. But it should not be given the importance that it is being given now. Neither should French be, nor Portuguese, nor Spanish. Okay, nor German. The curriculum that Africans need to start getting serious about: engineering, technical subjects. People have to learn building and construction, carpentry, mechanics, electricity, okay, food processing. Food processing is even very, very important. He who feeds you controls you, understand? We need to grow our own foods and process them. Okay? There is no reason why we should be planting cocoa and coffee here and sending all abroad all the time. Okay, they take it there, they process it and sell it back to us at about 10 times the value. So why not look for a way to process that food here and sell it back there 10 times the value? Okay, yes, we should get into economics because economics defines the business structure of a country. Okay, we should get into finance. People should learn finance so that we should have expert financial experts. Do you know that there are two French people sitting in BEAC? BEAC is the bank, this Central African Central Bank. BEAC. There are two French people sitting there. What is the function of two French people in the BEAC? Because they are doing our money. Do we not have financial experts? So you see how the consequences are falling down in every ramification. You understand? Because we have been fooled to believe that they are the ones who can do everything for us. So we need to change the subjects that we give a lot of importance to, like English, like history, even literature. I'm a writer. I have been appealing that we should stop studying 3 Shakespeare tragedy in secondary school. You understand? And there our literature teachers are proud to tell us that Shakespeare is the greatest English writer. They seal us. The effect is that they seal us. There's already a great English writer. It means that we can never become as good as Shakespeare. Okay. Philosophy. Go to philosophy. We are learning Montesquieu, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, John Locke. You understand? There are African philosophers. Please. I wish that this thing were even 4 hours so that I explain these things in detail. I hope you invite me, you understand?
All right, no problem, you'll come again.
There are African philosophers. What is philosophy? Philosophy is a study of the society, you understand? Or, how the society evolves, okay? Now, can a French philosopher, come out with theories that will be relevant to the development of the African society? Never. But we have Ngungi wa Thiong'o, who is talking about things that are relevant to Africa, but we don't study his philosophy. Okay,
Yeah.
we have Chinua Achebe, we have Kwame Nkrumah, who has written many books about Africa, things that are relevant to us, neocolonialism, and because Montesquieu said things that were relevant to the French and to the West. Okay, John Locke said things that were relevant to the British. Adam Smith said things that were relevant to the Americans. You understand? Capitalism, and America is a capitalist society today. Can that be relevant to the Africans? The answer is categorically no.
No.
Okay, we should be studying, African schools should be studying the philosophies of African philosophers. We have many of them. I can name about 100 of such philosophers now, you understand? Who have, from experience, analyzed and written things that are relevant to us and to solve the basic problems of the African society. So why are we studying Montesquieu? Why are we studying Rousseau? I went to a school in Douala where they were doing World Philosophy Day, and the vice principal told me, please, Mr. Walang, we need you to talk about, you to talk philosophy to the children. You are an Anglophone. It's a bilingual school.
Yeah.
And I told him, over my dead body. He said, why? I said, I'm seeing only white philosophers. You have put the picture of Montesquieu, Rousseau, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, John Locke, all those people. There is not a single black. What are you teaching these children? What do you want me to come and talk about? I said, I cannot talk about, philosophy to black children when there is not a single black philosopher. You understand? You are teaching them white supremacy. It's a subtle way of saying that the white man is superior. Okay? So our educational system has to be reviewed to give us, value in ourselves. You understand? I wrote a book, Black Beauty and the Seven Pygmies. It's a story book. So, I don't know whether some of you have read Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And somebody asked me, must it be something copied from that side? I said, yes, it must be, because to deconstruct a narrative, use something that is similar to the narrative. We read a lot of Snow White and the Seven Pygmies, and beauty was described as a white lady with long hair. That's Snow White, for your information, you understand? And our lady started copying that. Favor is a beautiful black lady. Is she not beautiful?
She's beautiful.
She is. So I came up with Black Beauty and the Seven Pygmies, and I redefined beauty as a black lady like Favor.
Yeah.
Okay? So that we assimilate that beauty to is black. So to deconstruct a certain narrative, you have to use that kind of a narrative to deconstruct it. You understand? That's why I wrote Black Beauty and the Seven Pygmies. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to ask this question. You mentioned Achebe. So I want to ask, how does Achebe's message connect with the state of Africa today?
Beautiful. Achebe is my favorite writer, so I can talk about him too. But now, to get to your question, Achebe wrote a book, Things Fall Apart. I read that book about 7 times until I came to, research about Achebe, and I discovered that Achebe wrote that book as an answer, as a response to the denigration of Africa by European writers. You understand? Some Europeans had written books like, how do they call this? There's this book, Mr. Johnson, that denigrated Africa. There are many other books like that. And when Chinua Achebe was reading these books, he took side with these writers and considered himself as one of those Europeans. Okay, but when he came to the realization that these books did no justice to Africa and the African tradition and the African culture, he said he should write Things Fall Apart, so that people, because in those other books, Africans were portrayed as people who did not have language, they did not have a culture, they did not have a society, they did not have a cosmology, some kind of a belief in spirituality too. You understand? So, but he came up with this book to show that even though you consider this remote, but this was an African society that was growing with a culture, with a language, with traditions, with dances, with proverbs, with wonderful beauty, aesthetics. Okay? Yes. So, yes, he has contributed in his works immensely to show that Africa too can be considered as an integral entity, not a shadow of the West. Because we are prominently a shadow of the West. If you read his works, okay, especially the traditional works like Things Fall Apart, like Arrow of God, you will discover that Africa too has its originality, its form that is material, that can be touched. Okay, whereas the West are still portraying Africa as a place that has no form, no spirituality. We have to be essentially Christian or Muslim. If you ask an African that what's your religion, he says that I don't have a religion. People get surprised. They want an African to either say I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim. You get it? Yes, but it should not be so. Okay, Africa had its own spirituality. Do you know that Africa never talked about religion, but do you know that the Yorubas have a very well-defined spirituality? Okay, Orisha in the Yoruba land. Okay, the Bamuns, they had a spirituality, even though during the Islamic conquest, all of that was wiped away. The Bansos, they have a spirituality. The Agam people have a spirituality. All African land, they had their own conception of a deity, of divinity, you understand? Which was inspired by their cultures and tradition. You cannot be talking about divinity. The Agam man would never be talking about divinity using Israel. He has never been there. Yeah. What's the connection between Israel and the Agam man for the Agam man? Or he gets a divine inspiration that no, divinity is only Israeli. It cannot go. Okay?
Yeah.
So Chinua Achebe came out with these things to show that Africa had life of its own, which the Europeans did not see, or they tried to articulate in a very negative manner intentionally. Because sometimes when you want to defeat somebody, you portray a very bad image of that person. You tell that person that you are nothing. You know, and fools will believe that they are nothing, and they will submit themselves to you because they think that you are something and they are nothing. That's what Africa is suffering from in the hands of Europe. And mind you, I still insist, I'm not blaming Europe. Europe is just the way they are.
Yeah.
But we cannot continue to give our power to Europe. We have to find a way to get out of this mess. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying in a sense.
All right. Thank you so much. Please, can you tell us what is the danger of the West controlling Africa's image?
Very, very important question. You know, the danger of the West controlling Africa's image is that Africa is going to continuously remain underdeveloped in the eyes of the world. Because the West, through its media, powerful media organs that have a global outreach, okay, have never painted a good picture of Africa. They are always telling you about wars in Africa. They're always telling you about famine in Africa. They're always telling you about excesses like female genital mutilation. If they don't have one bad thing, they have another about Africa. Do you know that in about 2012, there was an African Union summit in Equatorial Guinea, and I tuned to Al Jazeera on TV. Nothing was said about that. I tuned to CNN. Nothing was said about that. They were talking about famine in starvation in Sudan. Okay, and this is the narrative that they hold out there about us. It has made me to think and say Africa needs to come out with our own media outlet, which is of equal proportion to CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, Press TV, that will able to carry Africa's narrative. You cannot allow Jack. Let me tell you something, okay? Yeah. I've seen you today in a red dress, right? That is not all about Jack. But if I want to talk about Jack, if I want to be as fair as possible, I'll talk about Jack in a red dress because that's what I've seen today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's not all about you. There's another part of you sitting here called Jeff. Yeah. You understand? Who is also coincidentally in a red dress. Yeah. So if I want to talk about the two of you, I'll talk about you only in relation to the red dress.
Red dress, yeah.
Or Favor in the white dress she's wearing. Okay. But if I give Favor the opportunity to talk about herself, she will be more clear about her potentials, what she can do, what she cannot do, her taste, how she appreciates beauty. So Africa needs to start telling its story with a media outlet of equal proportion to BBC, to CNN, to all these international medias or media outlets, so that the story of Africa too can be heard. And mind you, okay, the world is running an information battle of geometric proportion. It means that every day it's rising from 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. That's how the media battle is going, you understand? So if Africa doesn't stand firmly on its feet in terms of media coverage, then we shall be swallowed. Because that is even, see, arms come even later. The arms, nuclear weapons, biological weapons, whatever, they come after the media warfare. Okay, so Africa, and that doesn't need much. So Africa needs to arm itself in terms of information.
Yeah.
To know the kind of information that we are dishing out there to the world. Okay, as far as Africa is concerned, the world too should be seen in the prisms of Africa, through the prisms of Africa, meaning that what Africa thinks of the world. Do you know that what's happening in America today, the coming of Donald Trump in America, has a lot of bearing on Africa? But now, because we are watching it through BBC, through CNN, through Al Jazeera, the African man does not understand fully the impact of a Donald Trump presidency to Africa. But it was an African media outlet that articulates the African narrative. Okay, there, the common man in Africa would be able to say, oh, this is the effect of the Donald Trump presidency on Africa. So I think it is very important. Africans, you know, there are some few people, you know, when I say this, it's good to also acknowledge there are some few people who are coming up, you know, with media outlets, but they are still very, very tiny. My message to them is that why not come together? Okay, all the new Cameroon even is a center where you know such outlets are growing. But why not come together, bring your forces together, and create a more powerful media outlet that will have a global outreach? China has CGTN, okay. What do they call? Iran has the Press TV. Britain has BBC. France has RFI, France 24. Germany has Deutsche Welle. America has BBC. America has Voice of America, that's radio, and then they have CNN. They have Fox News. You know, many. The Arab world has Al Jazeera. Okay, why should Africa not come up with something as powerful? And trust me, Africa has a lot of power. If you look at sports, Africa is dominating. I mean, black people. I'm talking about black people. If you look at sports, black people are dominating. In the intellects, in most universities, Africans are dominating.
Sure.
You understand? So the world is not fighting Africa by default. They are doing it by design, because they know if they leave these people will explode. But now it is for us young Africans. It's for you.
To wake up.
Because I'm Morizi, an aged man. It's for you young Africans to be impregnated with such information and then open the eyes of other Africans so that we measure ourselves, you know, to other powers in the world. If we don't do that, Africa will continue to lag behind. And trust me, I say there is no constant state in nature. Okay, you're either going forward or you're going backward. And where do you think Africa is going as far as the global geopolitics is concerned? Right now, Africa is going backward. Africa is not constant. Africa is going backward. Do you know why I came to this conclusion? No. I came to this conclusion because if you look at the global geopolitics now, right, you will see that lots of powers are still fighting to come and physically colonize Africa. And what is Africa doing? Nothing. Okay? There's only this Sahel now, the Sahel region of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger that's trying to do something. The rest of us are giving in. We carry our country on platters of gold and give to the West. ECOWAS, same thing. SADC in southern part of Africa, same thing. CEMAC, same thing. Okay, Africans are still not aware of the stakes at the level of global geopolitics and its effect on Africa and what stance we should take now. So you see that, you see where I'm coming from. I'm saying that because we are still right back down there, we have forgotten about our own identity. Okay, we have forgotten about our own identity and we're adopting. You see the global effect it's having on Africa. Okay, but if Africa starts adopting its identity, starts practicing its culture, starts enhancing its traditions, we start getting back our names. Okay, or we start maintaining only our African names. We start enhancing the African medicines. We start getting back to African philosophy. Okay, I am telling you, in 30 years, Africa will become unstoppable.
Wow.
Yes, In 30 years, Africa will become unstoppable because the African man is a very powerful man. But somebody has told the African man that you are worth nothing, and the African man believes. But Walang Abang is here to tell the African man that you are worth everything. You understand?
Yeah.
Just go back to your source. Go back to your source and start from there. 30 years, okay? The Chinese Cultural Revolution, Mao Zedong came to China in 1949. He died in 1976, okay? In 1986, China was already a world power. 1949 to 1986 was 37 years, okay?
Yeah.
Yes. China took 37 years to emerge as a world power, okay? Africa will take less. And if Africa emerges, guess what will happen? We shall be giving aids to Europe. I am telling you this. We shall be giving aids to Europe. Africa has trillions upon trillions upon trillions of wealth. Okay? But because we are not learning about that, it is somebody who is controlling that for us. The moment we grab that in our fingers, because when you know yourself, when you know your value, then can you grow. Okay? But now we are living in a situation of self-hate because somebody has told us that you have no spirituality, so we go to theirs. Okay? You have no culture, we go to theirs. You have no language, we speak their language. I'm speaking English here and everybody can understand. But I would have been happier speaking Swahili or Hausa or Lingala. Why are we still wasting time to adopt an African language? Okay? That will give Africa that power. Because if we all Africans speak one language, there will be sense of oneness.
Sure.
There will be sense of oneness, right? But why are we speaking different language and all foreign languages? I'm not saying that we should not know English. English is important. But the language of priority should be an African language. Okay? So, but why are we not doing that? Because we don't want to think out of the box, because we are lazy. It brings us to that point of, the lazy aspect of the African, who doesn't want to think out of the box, who wants the other person to do for him what he can do for himself. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what I'm advocating. I'm not saying that we should go to space. No. It's just things that are around us that we can do. It's just to change our way of thinking, way of looking at things, right? The African has a split personality, meaning that the African now has two worldviews. We should have one worldview that emanates from our culture, you understand? You cannot look at the world through the prism of the West. The West is the West. They have their own, common factors that determine their being, their existence. Africa too has. So the West cannot tell us that you are not developed. Do you even know that I contest the concept of development posed by the West? You understand? They defined it suits their context, but does it suit African context? My answer is no. Okay? In Bamenda, there is Mbu. Mbu. You know Mbu? Palm wine, white stuff. Mbu comes from Batibo in thousands of liters per day. Okay? You know that thousands upon thousands of liters of Mbu come from Batibo every day to Bamenda. Now, do you also know that this Mbu is not considered in the gross domestic product of Cameroon? You'll be surprised. Now, it is because the West has made gross domestic product to consider those things that are produced at a macro level, gigantic. Le Brasserie du Cameroon, CCC, all those big companies and stuff. But the puff and beans that one mama fries, mommy put all these small restaurants, the farmer who is planting potatoes or plantains, the man who raised his 100 chicks or fowls in the house, in the backyard, all of that is not considered in the GDP. But do you know what? That accounts to about 80% of the production of every African country south of the Sahara. Do your research. Okay? The gross percentage, which was largely rural, even people who left the rural areas and went to the urban areas still entertain little farms. There are Cameroonians who have gone to America who are doing farming in their backyard. Do you know that? So that culture is still there. So even when they go to the cities, they still plant plantains around, they plant cassava, they plant. All of that is not accounted for in the gross domestic product. Okay? And so they tell us that Africa has very low, African countries have very low GDPs. And I ask, are you serious? In America, a drop of water that drops from the tap is considered in the GDP. We don't do that. You know, we don't do that in Cameroon or in many African countries. So that mommy was selling puff and beans. Is she not sending her children to school? She even sends them, you know, abroad sometimes just from that puff and beans.
Yeah.
Or the ekwang that she's cooking, or the nyamangoro that she is selling, moving around selling. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are extremely rich. That a lot of our riches, since we have been given a very low position in the society, a lot of our riches have not been accounted for. Okay. You don't. Do you eat from the supermarket every day? Don't you eat from Mami Put? I mean, if I live here, if I feel hungry, I go to a woman who is cooking down at Moliko there. I'll sit there and eat a plate of food for perhaps 1,000 francs.
Yeah.
Okay. That is not accounted for in the GDP. That is hardly ever accounted for in the GDP. But is that not production?
It's production.
It is.
It is.
In my village in Womb, there is a lot of sha. When I drop at the park in Womb, the first thing I do is I drink sha there. Sha is 100 francs per bottle. Okay. Is that not production?
It's production.
But is it accounted for in our GDP? The answer is no.
It's not.
Okay. But do I not enjoy the sha? Must I drink only whiskey that has been produced in a big company? By the way, I'll tell us an anecdote about the whiskey that I just called. Do you know that local production was discouraged by the colonialists? Please, I don't want to. The colonialists, they discouraged local production, passing even sometimes through the church. Let me use the example of the whiskey. Have you read The Old Man and the Medal by Ferdinand Leopold Oyono? If you read that book, okay, there's Meka who drinks Arki. I mean, people drink Arki. Yeah. Arki is the Afofo or Dontol. So he drinks it. But the church has made it a sin. The colonial administration has made it a crime. Okay. But it is, what is Arki? Arki is locally produced whiskey, period. Okay. Why do you have to go into the depth of how it was produced or whatever? Yeah. Now, alongside the Arki, competing with the Arki is the whiskey from France, according to Ferdinand Leopold Oyono's story, because it was written by one time Minister of Culture, Ferdinand Leopold Oyono, that story, the Roman and Meda. Yeah. So when Meka drinks, or when people drink Arki, the church now will force them to confess. You'll have to confess now in church. You say, I drank Arki, which the church has already brainwashed you and told you is a sin. Yeah. But to drink whiskey, which is also a hot drink, is not a sin, because it comes from France. These are things that we should be taught even in school. Okay. Now, when you go and confess, what does the father do? Father Van der Meyer, that was his name. He tips the police and says, this man drank. And you're in your house, the police comes and arrests you. Like, you committed an offense. You drank Arki. Okay, so the church was working in collaboration with the colonial administration to discourage local production and local consumption. Yeah. Okay, yes. So there is a lot of this that is being discouraged that is not considered in the GDP, which if they put it, Cameroon's GDP is about 40 billion now, okay, dollars. If they consider all of that, it will go to about $120 billion. If they consider all the mbu, from the value, they give value to mbu, the puff and beans, the little things, the small fish farm that somebody is doing. People are doing fish farms now. Yeah. Okay. All of that, if a census is done, and because no census has ever been done on that. But they tell you of our GDP of, a low GDP. Okay. If all of that is censored correctly, it will take our GDP to about even $200 million. From 40 to 200 million. You take Nigeria from 390 to about 1 trillion. Okay, because Nigeria is extensive, very large, and there are many people doing this, informal businesses in Nigeria. Okay, but we don't consider that in our GDP. Nobody does, and they tell us of a GDP. So it's a psychological game where when you hear that your GDP is small, when you hear that you're underdeveloped, you keep yourself underdeveloped. You match, you toe the line because they have told you that you're underdeveloped. Okay. Why are we not asking questions as Africans? We should question everything. If we don't question everything, the status quo will remain. Right? We'll have a lot of riches and we will never see the value of those riches. Do you know that a friend came from Germany, not a friend, a German woman came here, that I befriended, like normal friendship. Yeah. And one day she was surprised. She asked me, but Mr. Walang, People invite me out. We go. We have drinks. Somebody spends 25,000 francs, and the next day he tells me that he's poor. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I told her that it is the educational system. It is, the cultural system that has been borrowed, or, the information war. When he hears that Africa is poor, okay, to him, 25,000 francs has no value. The only value of 25,000 francs is to go and drink. See, it's psychological. It works on the psyche of the black man. Take note of this. It works on the psyche of the black man because he has heard continuously that his country, his continent is poor. So 25,000 francs has no value. The only value is to go and drink and to get up the next day and say, I'm poor. But do you know that 25,000 francs is a lot of capital?
Sure.
I've held business talks where I told people that they beat me that MTN gave in those days. It was 4 beep me's per day. They first of all gave unlimited after the people abused and they brought it to 4. I said, do you know that beep me? You send a beep me, it's capital. It means you don't have a dime to put credit. But you send a beep me and somebody say, hey, Jack has called, or, Jeff has sent a beep me, let me call him. And Jeff says, I called Jeff just from the beep me, and Jeff says, Mr. Walang, do you know that there's this wonderful business idea that we can do? And and tomorrow we'll have about 100,000 francs. And I said, why not? You get it?
Yeah.
And we do business and tomorrow we have 100,000 francs. But if you did not know the word of that beat me, he wouldn't. You get it?
Sure.
So 25,000 francs is capital. There's a lot of, I can talk about this and expand on and on about this. In Africa, people having value, but they are not seeing it. Okay? In so many forms. So many forms. Why? Because they have been taught in school that Africa is poor. Okay? Yes. When you teach people proudly that Britain was our colonial master. Britain was a colonial master. It means that Britain is greater than you.
Yeah.
Okay? Such education should not be taught. It should be kicked out. People should be taught in school that Britain was a colonial criminal. They came here, they stole.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. It is our education. Okay? They came here, they stole our artifacts, they destroyed our culture. Okay? They used our fathers and mothers and they worked for them for free. Which was criminal.
Slavery.
You get it? The British administrators, if you read history, von Pushkama, women were brought to him. He was here in Cameroon, he was a governor, up here in Buea. Yeah. Women were brought to him from Benin Republic, Dahomey. You understand? For his sexual gratification. You can imagine how crude those people could have been, you understand? And what do we call them? Colonial masters. Pride. You understand?
Yeah.
And we teach our children that these were our colonial masters. You get it?
Yeah.
Yes. And our children will think that it is, it is proud. It's some kind of a pride to have been under Britain. To have had Britain as a colonial master. There isn't any pride in that, for your information.
Sure.
Okay. Yes. No fully, reasonable person should be proud to call another my colonial master. Okay? Yes. When in reality, what they perpetrated here was crime. One crime after the other. Okay? So we should call them that which they deserve. We should teach our children. Okay? They should not impose the kind of educational system. We should teach our children that these were colonial criminals who came here, stole our resources, stole our artifacts, and they are there. They lied to us, stole our culture, destroyed our spirituality. See, please, I don't have any problem against the West. I'm realistic.
Yeah.
The world is the way it is, and it's a battleground. In reality, right, from the Western perspective, it's a battleground. That's why China has outgrown them, using their method. Okay, Africa should not be an exception. You understand? The world was supposed to be a place of harmony. But because they have made it this way, right? It takes two to tango. Two can play that game. So Africa too can play that game. Why are we refusing to play the game? Okay? And when our brothers, 3 of our brothers, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, when they decide to start playing that game, we are the ones who want to bring them down. Okay? No, I'm telling Africans that we should support such initiative. We should play that game. It's a beautiful game.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting and I'm talking and I'm enjoying it. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That Africa too should get into the arena and play that kind of a game. It's a beautiful game.
Sure.
You understand?
Yeah.
Develop your own strength and reign in one particular domain. China, I do a lot of research about China. I can embrace China seriously because of the way they are creative. Okay. Europe, America, Western Europe, America, Australia included, right? They do not train half of the engineers China trains per year. China trains about 1.5 million engineers per year. Europe, combined with America and Western Europe, combined with Australia, America, Canada, they don't have up to 750,000 engineers per year. So you see, China means business. Why should Africa not, copy in the footsteps of China? Okay, because we want to be proud that A is our colonial master or B is our colonial master. You understand? And we are saying that no, we can turn from the West to Russia. It's a game of interest. Russia is not for Christmas. Okay, if Russia comes here, Russia too will have demands to make of us. But I'm saying that all of this has a history. You understand?
Yeah.
That at one point we were deceived. We allowed ourselves to be deceived because China did not. China was colonized by Japan. Okay, what is Japanese religion? Shintoism. What is Chinese religion? Buddhism. Why did the Chinese not adopt Shintoism? India was colonized by Britain. What is the British Anglican? Anglican Church. Okay, that's Christianity. What is Indian religion? Hinduism. Why did the Indians not abandon Hinduism and go to? You understand? Why is it only the Africans who abandoned their spirituality and went to Christianity and to Islam? You see that somewhere we made a mistake.
Sure.
Okay? Yes. I think that we should sit as Africans, young Africans. I'm planting these seeds because I know they will grow. You understand? In the young Africans. That we made a mistake. And see, India is one of the first 10 economies in the world now. Okay? I am saying it here. It's going to go live or it's going to go out there. China is the first economy in the world, whether we like it or not. The only reason that China is not called the first economy in the world is because there are media outlets that the rest of the world, gets more than the Chinese CGTN. You understand? The moment you watch, because I research, I watch CGTN, what kind of things they show. I am telling you, the level of development in China is mind-boggling. The level of development.
Wow.
You understand? Do you know that China has the the largest army? Do you know that China has the largest shipbuilding in the world? Wow. Yes. In terms of technology, China is first now in the world. You understand? So how else do you measure the development? I mean, according to the West, how else? You understand? Do you measure development? If they cannot recognize China, it's because of some kind of bias. So the reason is China chose what they could choose and they rejected what they did not need. Their spirituality was first, right? India too, same. Their spirituality was first. They said, we will welcome Western technology, but we don't want your spirituality. We are Hindu, essentially. You understand?
Yes.
The King of England, King Charles, he was formerly the Queen of England. The King of England is the spiritual head of the Anglican Church. Go and do your research, okay? He's the spiritual head of the Anglican Church. The Anglican Church is the English church, okay? Christianity has gone through a lot of evolution. So at one time, the English created their own church called the Anglican Church, okay? The Germans created their own church called the Lutheran Church, Protestant, you understand? Okay? And so on and so forth, right? The Russians have the Orthodox, the Greek Orthodox, you understand? So the Anglican Church is the English church and the King of England is the head of the Anglican Church, okay? Just imagine that the King of England got up one morning and said that he is no longer Anglican, he's a Muslim. He will be dethroned. They will dethrone him on that same day. Why? Because the traditions and cultures of the English people are deeply rooted in the Anglican Church. You understand?
Yes.
Yes. So the Emperor of Japan too is the head of the Shintoism religion. Okay? Everything is in his hands. He's the spiritual head. He cannot tell you today that I'm no longer a practitioner of Shintoism. I'm now a Hindu. You know, he cannot do that, right? Why is it only in Africa that sacrilege can be permitted to happen?
All right.
I call it a sacrilege. You understand? Why is it only in Africa? And the reason, you know, and that accounts for our backwardness, because he who plants something in your spirit, okay, his own seed in your spirit controls you. He will go to his house and he will sleep and you'll be working for him without knowing. You understand?
All right.
In the past, it used to be slaves that they used to come and catch and take to the West. But now they put the slavery in your mind, in my mind, okay, through education, through spirituality, and we start working for them without knowing.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Please, I have this question. Do you think a Pan-Africa platform can work? Oh.
A Pan-African platform is already working. You understand?
Yeah.
In terms of media, right? In terms of
media platform, yeah.
Yes. It is already working. What we are doing here is Pan-African. Okay? Yes. If you read the history of Pan-Africanism, it is trying to bring, you know, Africans together. For a common good for Africa.
Yeah.
Okay? Africans in Africa, Africans in the diaspora, bringing all of them together. And the proponents of Pan-Africanism were doing this, knowing that one day people will be sitting in studios like this and talking about things in the interest of Africa. So yes, a Pan-African platform can work. There certainly will be many challenges, right?
Yeah.
For example, I'm talking about African media outlets. Africa also should create, what do they call, internet apps. You guys master this better, okay? Yes, platforms like, you know, to rival Facebook. Because if a Pan-African platform becomes so popular in Facebook, it will be turned away. If it becomes so popular in YouTube, it will be turned away. Because it's a battle. I tell you people that it's a battle, you understand?
Yeah.
The Chinese, they created Twitter because they cannot propagate their philosophy in YouTube. Okay? The West will tear that apart. Right?
Yeah.
So, yes, Pan-African platform can succeed, but only at a very small level. If we want it to go higher, we should start creating different platforms, like, you know, that have equal weight, like Facebook, that have weights like YouTube, like Twitter, so that African things will be able to survive there. Otherwise, if we go into the Western platforms, because Facebook, whether you like it or not, is a Western platform, okay, which is enriching the West. Right. Yeah. Which because where do you pay royalties when you want to advertise? You pay to Facebook. The headquarters is in America. Mark Zuckerberg. Okay. What do they call YouTube? Is the same. Twitter is the same. Okay. But if Africans have a platform, and in this, you know, because we don't believe in ourselves. Because it has a history. I'm teaching us to believe in ourselves. Don't buy from an African because it's the best product. Africans should try to make their products very, very good, you know, to be competitive. But an African should go and buy from an African so that we empower ourselves. These are the things that we are supposed to be telling ourselves as African. I am an Agam. We have an Agam community in the place where I live, where I stay, right? If I want to buy something, I look for an Agam man who has, because we are in a meeting. There's no reason why we should be meeting. If the Agam man doesn't have, I go to the next person. You know, Cameroonian or African before I go to you. My wife, they are like, Daddy, you are showing too much in this house. And I'm like, that is how I am. That's how I want Africa to be. Because I start consuming Cameroonian products. You understand? Products that are made around. You get it? Yes. If I want to buy milk, I say, what milk is produced in Cameroon? I don't want to call names, you understand? I buy it and put it in my house. If Cameroon doesn't have, I say, what milk, the next African country that does milk that is here. Okay. Yes, I buy it and put it. Coffee is the same thing. Tea is same thing. I buy tea that is produced in Cameroon. I drink a lot of tea, so I buy tea that's produced in Cameroon. For your information, it's more expensive. But I buy it somehow. Okay, because I'm like, you know, they have lots of challenges. Perhaps taxes, perhaps this. So you start producing or consuming what you are producing. So that home factories can grow. Home industries can grow. Yes. Yes. So that is in the way of Pan-Africanism, you know, to encourage growth from within.
Africa.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Walang. what do you have to say about African women that do wear fake wigs, all this makeup, and reject African beauty?
Black
Their
beauty.
natural black beauty.
Black beauty.
Yeah. Black
That's
beauty.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. I made allusion to our beautiful sister sitting here. Yes, she is, black and beautiful. If African women are watching this program, they should just look at her. Look at how natural she is. Okay. Look at how natural she is. Look at how beautiful she is. You don't need to look foreign to be beautiful. The definition that beauty is white is a fat lie. Okay?
Yeah.
That is a definition that has been forced upon Africans for business purposes.
Sure.
So that we buy products from that side to define our beauties.
Okay.
You understand? Beauty is natural. I'm not saying that black is the only beauty. I'm saying that beauty is natural.
Natural, yeah.
So a black man in his natural self is beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay? Yes. So we should not submit ourselves to the dictates of others. When they define beauty, we come now and we want to live up to their standard. We want to get their approval. Because see, what we don't know, buying wigs and wearing on our head is to please people who don't know us, who don't even care about us. Do you know that? If my wife, right, my beautiful wife buys wigs and a wig and she wears on her head and she goes out there, right? 99% of the people she will meet on the way don't know her. Okay? So why do you want to please those people who don't know you, who don't care about you? Okay? They did not go out of their houses one day saying that I want to see a beautiful black woman wearing this kind of wig, human hair. No. They never thought about that. Okay? So I'm saying that these are futilities. These are things that we concentrate a lot of our attention on, which are futile, which don't have a lot of value, which don't mean so much. Okay? We should concentrate on being natural, on enhancing our natural self. Okay? Yes. Beauty is black. In fact, this is not racist. There is an American scientist of late called Dr. Frances Cress, woman. Dr. Frances Cress, she was a psychologist.
Yeah.
She came up with a theory that the black gene is a dominant gene and the white gene is a recessive gene. She was seriously attacked in America on the basis of this theory. And she said, it is science. It's not my creation. It's not my opinion. It is something that is natural. It's science. The black gene is dominant and the white gene is recessive. What does this mean? It means that because of the power of the black gene, the black race will continue to increase. Because of the weakness, the recessiveness of the black gene, the black race will be diminishing. It will be dwindling. Let me speak simple English, understand? It will be dwindling. So why should we not be proud of being in that dominant part of the race? Okay? Why should we copy a race that is ebbing out, that is finishing, according to Dr. Frances Cress? I think that the only reason that this theory has not become so popular is because it's a black woman who came up with it. That's number one. And number two, it puts to question the issue of white supremacy. Because you cannot be claiming that you are superior when your gene is recessive. Okay? I have no problem against the white man. It's science, I'm saying here. Right? And we are foolish. We are copying something that is recessive. How dull of us. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
Sure, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. We are copying something that is recessive, something that is dwindling, something that is diminishing. And we are neglecting something that is dominant. Being dominant means that you are more powerful. As a black man. Right?
Yeah.
Open Frances Cress on YouTube, you see her there talking about the recessiveness of the white gene and the dominance of the black gene. It's not Walang Abang who is saying it. It's a researcher who did her research meticulously and came up with this.
Yeah.
And it is true. And she said that in 1984, the percentage of whites in the world was, is it 34? And in 2000, at the time she was talking, the percentage of white had reduced to about 24. You understand? Because they have a recessive gene. It's science. Okay? Yes. So why should our women take the hair of somebody who has a recessive gene and put on her hair? It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. So.
Yeah. Why not stick with your natural hair?
But some argue that it's just fashion and choice. What do you say to them?
No, what is fashion? Fashion is business, isn't it? So, in order for some businesses to thrive, they would lie. Okay, they would lie. They would say beauty comes from this hair. The hair of somebody. You know when you cut hair, right? When you cut hair, the hairs are like antennas. They work when they are there. You understand? When you cut it, they lose their natural relevance. Okay. So when you cut that hair and go and put it on somebody's or on some other person's scalp, do you know the consequence of that? You understand? Number two, hair is spirit. Your spirit is in every part of your body.
Yeah.
If you cut my hand and give it to say Jack, right? This hand will not fit properly there. But what this hand used to undergo as part of my body, right? It will start disturbing you in one way or the other. You understand? This may be metaphysics, this may be science, but this is true, right? Why do you want to go and take some other person's hair and put it on your head when you don't even know that person? You don't know what that disease that person was suffering from. Okay? It's dangerous, isn't it?
It is.
Now we are just getting so many diseases without knowing where they are coming from. Who knows whether they are coming from that? And when the woman takes it and puts it on her hair and she gets infected or affected in one way or the other, she loves a strong, handsome African man. She will send this to the man. So she'll start. They'll start dividing it around. Okay, it's dangerous. Health-wise, it's not good. Psychology-wise, it's not good. It's called self-hate. You hate yourself. And you hate yourself because somebody has told you that you are not beautiful. And because you don't want to research what is beauty, you believe what the person has told you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Do men also carry this identity crisis in different forms?
Certainly. Now, you will discover that identity, African identity. I run an organization called the African Identity. It's called Utambulisho. Utambulisho is a Swahili word for identity, okay, in which we talk about the genuine identity of the African, okay. Now, there are men who have been known to bleach themselves, okay. In so doing, they are denying their original identity as black men. There are men who have families and they give their children 3 Western names. You understand? Yes, because the names are Western. Because the names are Western. Because somebody becomes president of America whose name is Bill Clinton, they name their child Clinton. Okay? Yeah. Somebody becomes president of France whose name is Macron, they name their child Macron. Okay? Those men are suffering from, a chronic identity crisis. Okay? Yes, because the man is the head of the family. Why on earth would you think that foreign names are better than your own indigenous, natural, original name? Okay? Yes. And then, just because it's a trend to give foreign names, you don't give 1. You give 2, sometimes 3. There are some who have erased their names completely and have named their children only with Western names. Do you know that? Excuse me. So men are even suffering from this identity crisis. Women even, it's a little, limited to beauty, to trying to showcase their beauty. Okay, but with men, it goes a little further, like naming their children with foreign names entirely. It means that even their own indigenous names that they have, they don't pass it on to their children. They give their children only Western names. I know of children who have about 4 Western names. They are baptized with such names, they go to school with such names, they grow with such names. Okay, they don't give the indigenous names rich in symbols, African symbols. Okay, yes. So it becomes even dangerous, yes, when men lose their sense of identity. Yeah. So there are men who lose this sense of identity, many.
All right. Thanks so much, Mr. Roland. Thank you so much. I believe we are learning a lot. even people watching us, they are learning a lot.
Yeah.
And there are things we didn't know that we need to correct. But here now, from what you've told us, we need to correct some things about us that we don't actually understand. So thank you so much, Mr. Walang. We have some few questions we'll be asking, but I'll need to read them because it's just we're wrapping up to conclusion. So I'll just be reading the questions, then you answer. So I have number 1 here. One African name you love and its meaning. Just name one African name you love and the meaning.
One African name I love.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll go to my own tribe where I come from. Walang. Walang. It means man of law. Yes, Kelang. Kelang is law in my village. So Walang derives from the word law. Wu Kelang. Wu Kelang. That's man of law. So Walang. You know, that is a name that, let me tell you, my mother didn't like this name very well, just short, little. Didn't like this name very much, Walang, when she was still a girl growing. And she said she never wanted to hear this name. But let me say, unfortunately for her, she had her first child, it was a man, and this her husband was related to royalty, the king of Agam. The people call him Fon, that's a reduction by the white man. The king of Agam, his name was Walang. And he said that child is called Walang. So my mother couldn't do anything about it, and her child became Walang. Okay, but I adore the name. You get it?
Yeah.
Yes, I love the name. It's a wonderful, simple, meaningful name. And like the name, I love equality.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. I have this other question. Tell us a topic that always gets people, and when you speak on it,
that scares people.
Always gets people like
angry, or maybe that always give people angry when he talk of it down.
Spirituality, African spirituality. I'm so vocal about African spirituality, the loss of African spirituality, that when I talk about it, I have lost some very valuable friends because of that. I'm very sorry about it, but you know, the truth is the truth. I do not intend to lose valuable friends. Okay. Yes, I am really very sorry, but I think that we should cherish the truth. And when somebody says the truth, we should value them instead. Because if you don't say your truth, then you would be pretending. Yes, and you don't want to stay near a pretender. If you have a friend who's saying the truth, even if the truth doesn't align with your belief system, with your belief system, it is just his truth. Okay. Yes. So right, spirituality.
Thank you so much. I have next. What message? Your message to pastors who reject African names at baptism? What you earlier said.
Yes. My message to them is that they should do their research. Okay. Yes, they should do their research. They should read African anthropology. African anthropology talks about African cultural values. You understand? When the white man came here, his main aim was to erase the African culture. Erase it and impose his own so that he could be able to dominate. You understand? And one of those that he used was religion. You know, one of the weapons that he used was religion. You understand? They send their pastors and whatever first to go and survey the terrain, convince people and whatever, so that they came now with the military, you understand, to finish the rest. So they should research this and discover that they are not doing any justice to Africa because they are Africans. Okay? If Africa is suffering, the pastor too is suffering. Isn't he?
He is.
So for Africa to emerge, then the pastor will have a better life. His generations to come to have will have a better life, you understand? So the pastor should do research about the authentic African identity. And if he wants to continue serving the white man's God, right, he should incorporate Africanness into it and say, I can baptize anybody with an African name. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. What is one historical figure we should know, which we all should know, but we don't know about it?
Do you know Ahmed Sékou Touré?
No.
Ahmed Sékou Touré was the first president of Guinea Conakry. You know, there's Equatorial Guinea, there's Guinea-Bissau. Guinea Conakry. Ahmed Sékou Touré, at the time of independence, this is a very interesting story. At the time of independence, under France, right, or so-called independence, because I still say Africa has not had independence. So-called independence. The French brought a colonial pact to be signed by the leaders who were given independence at that time. a pact for the continuation of colonialism, in which military, finance, education, resources, resources, language, everything was going to be determined by France. The only African president at that time who refused to sign that pact was Ahmed Sékou Touré, the president of Guinea at that time, Guinea-Conakry, Ahmed Sékou Touré. And France reigned terror on Guinea because of that. France, they burst pipes, took away tables, did everything to sabotage the state of Guinea. But Ahmed Sékou Touré stood tall and firm, and he supported a lot of independence movements in Africa, including Nelson Mandela.
Wow.
Nelson Mandela recounts that he went and saw Ahmed Sékou Touré. They discussed about fighting apartheid in South Africa when he came out of prison. Ahmed Sékou Touré gave a lot of money, physical cash, to Mandela. Other Africans did, but Ahmed Sékou Touré, he was spectacular. You understand? So that is a historical figure that I want Africans to read about. Yes, those who want Africa to stand on its feet.
Oh.
Thank you so much. So we have this one. Give an African proverb that guides your life.
An African proverb that guides my life.
Yeah.
It's a little in contradiction with my person, but it's a proverb from Agam, which says that Nyon fudzgo fubrayondro. That's a bird that talks too much doesn't build. Doesn't build, a nest.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. So from this proverb, I'm like, we talk so that Africans should become impregnated, but we should start building, start doing something. I do that by writing. I told you about Black Beauty and the Seven Pygmies.
Yeah.
It's my own contribution, you understand? So you are people of the media, do that, with the media. Those who are farmers should do it with farming. Those who are teachers should do it with teaching, and so on and so forth.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. You've studied, you write, and then you do so many other things.
Yes.
From this advice, I don't know, do you have any social media platform? Because I saw your videos on TikTok, so I would like you to tell people your name on TikTok or any other platform to follow you. They need they want you to write or anything. Yeah, they need your service.
Okay, that's right. Thank you for that opportunity. Yes. If you go to Facebook, if you go to TikTok, if you go to YouTube, you key in Walang Abang, Walang with one L. Walang Abang, you will see my videos there. You will even see some of the books that I've written. I'm a storyteller. This is a part that I forgot to tell you guys. I'm a storyteller. I tell African folk tales on radio and end up giving some kind of guidance to African kids on how to grow as authentic African children. Wow. So I also do that, TikTok, just the name Walang Abang, Facebook, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, please can you tell us about the books you have written and how can people get it?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that opportunity. I have written more than 40 books.
Okay. Wow.
Story books, yes. I've written more than 40 story books. And all my books are about, enhancing our Africanness in one way or the other. Oh. Yes, trying to deal with self-hate, building confidence as an African child. Yes, loving yourself as an African person. I talk about Black Beauty. I've written funny tales from my grandmother's parlor, funny tales from my grandmother's kitchen, because the culture or the tradition of storytelling is dying very fast. Yes, I've written so many books, in that regards, whose titles I cannot list all here, but they are very captivating stories. Oh. Yes, very captivating little stories for young adults, for adults. The University of Boya is even using one of my plays that I've written. Where can you get my books? If you go to Walang Abang on Facebook, you see many of my books. There you can find even my number. Okay. Yes, where you can call, and there are people who buy my books online. They just call. I bundle the books and send them sometimes through travel agencies. They go to Yaoundé. People even as far as Ngandere get to me and I send them books. From Yaoundé they transit through other agencies and they go to Ngandere. So through Facebook, I think that is the best way to get to me. All right. You go to Facebook, you write, to Walang Abang, tell me you want my books, and tell me where you are, and when the payment is made, I'll send the books to you wherever you are. Even if you are abroad, we can send books now through the post. Yes, thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from his mouth, Walang Abang, in all social media platforms. He's a writer, he's a storyteller, he has so many things he's doing. So, if you want to get to him, just check Abang Walang. Walang with
Walang
one
Abang,
L.
yes.
Walang Abang. All right. Thank you so much for watching Uncensored Twins, Mr. Walang Abang. We're so happy to have you here today.
I'm so happy.
I mean, we're so grateful because we have learned a lot, and I believe people watching us have learned too. So thank you so much for watching us. Stay tuned with us on Uncensored Twins. You know, anything you see or hear from this place is the truth.
Yeah.
We do not edit videos. So follow us every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Uncensored Twins. Thank you, love us.
I love you.